Right, well, a little bit about the Library of the Past, I think probably from me to start with, because the London Library Change Programme was part of the Improvement Programme, and that went from really 2007 to 2011, and during that time, we all know what happened, the world completely changed. We did, the first phase was basically as a result of the CPA when we realised that London's 33 library authorities compared to those outside of London were performing, weren't as performing as well, and were costing a lot more. Fairly obvious because with the 33 boroughs. But what the programme started to do was try to uncover what it was about that, and it was actually funded by Capital Ambition. So I'm really keen that the learning from that should carry on. We went through 3 phases. Looking at workforce and the ins and outs of workforce, because simplistically, libraries are so complex. Simplistically, you could say, oh well, we've just got more staff, but we really uncovered a lot of things that individual library authorities have actually been able to change as a result of that. The levels of tiers and all kinds of different practices that were going on that were quite costly, and so we've had to been able to drive out funding and savings. And the phase 3 involved 5 collaborative projects where a lot of people in this room were involved in. So I'm really keen that the learning from that doesn't just disappear, because it did pave the way for a lot of the collaborative programs that are happening now and a lot of the shared services that have gone on and different things. But where do we go from here? My big question is now, it's okay, obviously, in York, I'm assuming you do have savings targets as well, so, looking at what you've done is not a way to look at savings as being the main thing, but local authorities are actually halfway through making the savings that they need to make for the last comprehensive spending review, so there's a lot further to go, and so there are going to be huge demands on making savings. It's probably not possible for in London certainly, for small authorities to do that on their own. So new models are emerging. I just want to say a little bit about the CLOA as well, which is the Chief Culture and Leisure Officers Association, because I'm secretary of that, and I did a survey recently asking them, what were they all really good at, which authority was good at what, who could share what, who could learn what. Nearly all of them put down libraries. Nearly all of them, the only innovative projects that they could sort of cite were libraries. The only things that they'd done new or differently were libraries. So actually, of all the things that are going on in London, libraries is where it's happening. So how do we share that? How do we continue to sort of build on the back of that? I just want to say a quick word about the Love Libraries programme as well, which is a volunteering programme. With that programme, we had 14 boroughs involved. We've signed up over 3,500 people in the last year. 50,000 hours have been delivered, an equivalent of almost £600,000 worth of support into libraries. And that was specifically funded by the Mayor of London to run that project, working with libraries. And that was a non-job replacement, so it was getting people into volunteer to support and help support libraries. But that's just one model that was happening across 14 boroughs. I think we need something more than that. And I can see from looking at London now lots of different pockets of expertise happening, but I'm not sure how we're sharing that, how we're learning that, how are we going to rise to the challenge in the future. We did a scenario planning exercise as part of the Library Change programme. A lot of people in this room were part of it. At the time of doing it, 2009, we couldn't conceive of some of the things that have happened now. We couldn't conceive that there wouldn't be every single borough would have its own library authority. In fact, that's not the case now. We've got shared services happening, and I think that was a really useful exercise to do. But once knowing that we had to change, is how do we change? Where's the leadership going to come from? And what level are we operating at? And where are the decisions being made? I think there's quite a lot of barriers in the way that need to be dismantled. before we can actually move on. And I think part of it is knowing what we want to do. And I just want to sort of throw challenge open really today as to look at what is it you want to do and how are we going to do that and who is going to lead that through.